Alright guys, what's up? This is It's Dip from server 420. I've played on a couple other servers before, but I'm making this video for any of my teammates who need help with pretty much what I call standard setup. So I'm going to go over basically how to build any specific carrier. This setup goes for pretty much any carrier in the entire game, and you pretty much can get away with it. I'm not going to lie to people, I spend plenty of money on this game, even though I definitely shouldn't, but this guide should help everyone because all of this equipment is hands down the cheapest that you can possibly get, and overall it's like the most effective equipment in the game. I think at least for free players to go with an aircraft setup. So first, what you're going to want to do is go to your aircraft supply depot. Now, I have a ton of these stacked up. When you're first starting out, you're not going to. When you're first starting out in the game, it's going to offer you a bunch of random carriers. Your best bet for the start of the game, if you're just starting out on a new server, and you're not afraid to spend a little bit of money, pick up the Illustrious, pick up the Niello B2, and you can either choose the third slot between like the Super Stallion, the Iroquois, or the F-22 plane. But other than those, pretty much every other 5-star is garbage up until you can pick up the Tsurugi. And then you're going to basically want to get 6-star planes from there on out. So this is really just a video on how to get all of the equipment that you possibly can. So I'm going to set up my Midnight Pumpkin. I already have all of the equipment necessary to put onto it, but this goes for like any aircraft setup. So any setup that you're trying to use your planes for as much attack as possible. So I'm going to burn through a bunch of these. I probably should have done that while I was talking, but I'm just going to do this all in one take, and if the audio sucks, I'm going to just record back over it. So I'll cut out pieces if I need to. Basically, for standard setup, or what I call standard setup, you're going to pick up a bunch of random 5-star planes and break them for equipment. Now, the equipment in this game, the airplane equipment specifically from the 5-stars, man, I'm getting lucky with these draws. The 5-star equipment plane, or from planes, is kind of weird. The system is in like a faux Roman numeral type setting. So like if I break apart a plane and it gives me a missile, right? If it's a 3 or 4-star plane, you'll hear a lot of people talk about the R-77, and that is what I'm going to use as well. But there's different versions of it. So like if you get Roman numeral 1 or Roman numeral 2, you are locked at Roman numeral 2. You can't go any higher. However, if you break a 5-star plane, all of them drop at the very least it's like Roman numeral 2S. It's like IIS or something. And I'm going to show you that. So first, basically what you're going to want to do if you just started out and you don't know what planes to use, you're going to want to go filter in your aircraft factory for 5-star. And then you're going to scroll down pretty much. The thing that you're really looking for, I mean, all of these are just over time. You'll just build up a ton of them. The best things in the beginning to pick up for parts is the F-35 Lightning. I don't actually know if you can filter for that, but no, I don't think you can. And honestly, I might not have them. I don't think you can get them actually from that, the supply depot. But if you can't, it's okay. Basically, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and see what I got. Yeah, okay, so I don't have F-35s. So I'll start looking at the J-20, but right off the bat you can see, so it's a 5-star plane, and you can see that it has IIS, that equipment. This equipment can be leveled up if you go to the handbook and look at, so like this would be the R-77, I believe, yeah. So if you look at this, right, if you have the IIS, right, if you pick up that missile, if you break that from here, you get the bottom tier, right? If you bring it up colors, you can see all the different stats that you're going to get when you bring it up to a different color. And then once you get it from, the first step is getting it from IIS to Roman numeral 3. You won't be able to do that. Pretty much you can level up the IIS all the way to red without any issues whatsoever, and you're probably going to want to get it to at least gold or red as soon as possible. You can get lucky in the beginning of your server. There's always like one plane, I believe on our server it was the Comanche, but I evolved it. If you don't evolve it or whatever, there's always a higher plane, like one of those the rare ones that I picked up from the supply depot. So let me see if I can give you an example. So Lancaster, yeah, okay. So like say this one, if you get the Lancaster, notice how it drops into that Roman numeral 3 equipment. Now you don't have an R77 here, and all of these 3 pieces of equipment are pretty much garbage, so you don't want to break that plane because it's useless. But some of the 5 stars, the ones that are more expensive via shards, are going to drop Roman numeral 3 equipment. And if they do, then you pretty much, maybe the Kiowa as well. Yeah, so Roman numeral 3 equipment, let me see. Doesn't drop anything that we need. Doesn't drop anything that we need, but it's still Roman numeral 3 equipment. But anyway, my point was to show that some of the 5-star planes drop even Roman numeral 3 equipment. And if you can get an R77, I know the Comanche that I showed a second ago does drop that. You can get really lucky and start the game with an R77 Roman numeral 3, and then get that as soon as humanly possible, as high as you can. Yeah, so what you're going to want to do, if you break apart those planes, you're going to hopefully get the R77 IS, and I'm just going to break them so you can kind of see how that process goes. So I have to scroll all the way back down to see if I can get that last plane. Wow, man, I have a lot. So you guys can see how that process goes. Basically, you're just going to go to your 5-star plane. Here's the one, the J20 drops the APS. You're going to want this one too, and the R77. So the J20 is a really, really good way to start stacking them up. If I disassemble it, right, it gives you a piece of equipment. Right, cool. I got another IIS R77. So right off the bat, we're good. I have to filter every time, which is annoying. And if you have a ton, I can't wait for the new update that's going to allow you to batch disassemble planes instead of one at a time. So I can actually get rid of all these. But yeah, so another J20, hopefully you'll get the APS, or another R77. Cool, got the APS 50. You're going to need 7 total of each of these. The 7 of them will allow you to merge all of them into their +2 form. All right, so that's the process. You want to disassemble those. Right, and now if I go to my missiles, right, I already had 4 of them, but now I have a 5th one, right? I had a few for the sake of this video in standard so I could show you the upgrade process. So when you go to upgrade it, first you have to choose, sometimes there's a couple different options if you wanted to go to like +1 or IV Roman numeral 4. It would be like over on the side. But for the first thing you have to do, you have to upgrade it to 3, and it takes these quantum matrix Roman numeral 3s. You get these from killing level 21 or above pirates in those boxes. Those boxes also drop with a really, really rare chance the Roman numeral 4 ones, and you're going to need those to take the equipment even higher. But basically, I'm going to do 3 for the purpose of this video because you need 3 of them at Roman numeral 3. So the first thing, so say if I wanted to go to 3 + 1, right? So now here's where those other options are, right? If I wanted to go to 3 + 1, I need 3 of the Roman numeral 3 R77 missiles, and I combine them, and then I get the +1. You also can grab the +2 straight off the bat. You need 7 +3s, okay, and that's why I said you need 7 of them originally. Or you can take it to IV, which you need these IV matrices, and you're going to need a ton of them. So just be prepared. Once you can hit pirates above level 21, you're going to need to slaughter them all the time. One, it'll give you a ton of resources, so you don't have to worry about having things to upgrade your base or anything, because you're going to have way too many resources than you know what to do with. if you are hitting enough pirates. If you find yourself short on resources, you're probably not hitting enough pirates to get the amount of equipment you need to stay ahead of the curve. But this equipment is applicable for pretty much any carrier for an aircraft setup. If you are a very low spending player, I highly, highly recommend to save up your daily gold that you get from photonic crystals in this shop. And then get the daily gold here. You can get 1,000 gold a day and save it as much as humanly possible, right? If you have 3 or 4 months of playing, you'll have almost about 100,000 gold if you make sure you get it every day. And when the auction event comes up, it's not up now, but when the auction event comes up, it's like a little gavel hammer thing. You can pick up either I recommend a Helios or a JFK if you are going to be playing without spending a lot of money. They are extremely good aircraft attack carriers, and they will make the most use of this equipment. All right. The equipment setup that you're going to want, I already had, like I said, so that was how you upgrade the R77. For the Navarre unit, you want this APS 50. And you upgrade it the exact same way. You got to take it to 3, or you could take it to 4, and you need 7 copies of them to get them all the way up. The last thing that you want in the search radar column is actually called a JPG-1, and I don't think that I have a plane that actually breaks into it, but I might. And then that would be standard setup. For the most part, you get 3 pieces of equipment from these planes. Yeah, it doesn't have it. So you get the APS, the R77, and the JPG-1. Those are the 3 pieces of equipment that you can get totally for free, very, very easily, and level them up all the way to a super high level and still be competitive. I still use the R77 and the JPG and the APS. I use all 3 of those still at base level 25, and I'm able to take on level 30 pirates all day. I can hit a couple 32s right now, but I need a couple other pieces to be able to hit them regularly. And, kind of just goes up from there. Let me see if I can find any of these JPG. No. And what I'm doing, I'm just hitting disassemble. I'm seeing what it gives me, and then if it doesn't have what I want, I just move on to the next plane. So, sorry if I'm going really fast. Yeah, I don't think I have anything. So what I do know that it does give you, or that gives you the JPG, if you go to your aircraft shards, and you scroll all the way down, you can look at the, where's it, F-35 Lightning, right here. Okay, this plane, it gives you the JPG and the R77. So if you pick up a few of the F-35s and you pick up a few of the J-20s, you will be able to get all 3 pieces of equipment. So F-35 for the JPG, J-20 for the APS radar or Navarre, and you just break them until you have one of each to start. Once you have one of each, get them as high of a color as you possibly can. And then once you are able to hit level 21 or above pirates, it's grind time. You hit as many as you possibly can, and to load up on resources, and you'll eventually get enough of those matrices to keep taking that up. The first big hurdle is getting it to Roman numeral 3. So like I said, if you get lucky with one of those higher level 5 stars, you might just be ahead of the curve and be way ahead on damage and being able to take out those level 21s even faster than everyone else. So that's really, if you're going to get lucky, hope for the R77. It does the most for you. But if you get a Roman numeral 3 of either of the others, it's still really good. The APS is also really good because once you get it to Roman numeral 3, the stat changes. So instead of giving electronic countermeasure, it gives you boost morale, which increases the likelihood of your skills to do damage against pirates, and it'll let you hit even more pirates more consistently. So I'm going to pick up a couple of these just to see if I can get a JPG to show you. All the way down. Now I'm probably going to have to re-record this audio because what I was listening to before was really, really loud and it was picking up a lot of background noise. I'm using a regular headset right now, so I might need to re-record this audio. But JPG, so this guy, JPG-1 search radar, disassemble, and pray. No, okay, R77, well, I might have the 7, so I could take it up to +2 live right now. And by the way, the program that I'm currently using to show this is not my iPhone or anything. It is a program called LD Player. See, CCOM didn't give me the thing again. Maybe I won't get it. If I do, great. If I don't, we will see. I'll probably go pick up more because I just want to actually have a screenshot of the setup for the thumbnail of the video. And sometimes, yeah, okay. So sometimes it's like it's just the luck of the draw. What you can do, actually, this is a pretty good opportunity. When you don't get what you want, if you can come to your aircraft carrier base and disassemble the stuff you didn't need into these green shards, okay? So if you'd got stuff that you didn't want, so let's go to torpedo, because I never use any of these guys. CCOM, choose that. APS, choose that. And 2 of these, well, that doesn't give the same thing because it's IV already. So I'm going to disassemble both of those, and it gave me 20 of those shards. You can then use these shards in the shard exchange shop, I believe, to pick up, yeah, one of these type IIS equipment selection chests. Notice the game wants you to go this way anyway because it knows that this is the natural progression to get better equipment. All right. So if I pick up one of these chests and then I hit use, it'll allow me to pick any from that entire list of 5-star plane equipment that I can grab. Like I said, I want the JPG, and the reason I want it is because it's the only one that gives overall crit. So I'm going to do this for my Midnight Pumpkin. Let me take off planes. I really, really like the Midnight Pumpkin for a starter carrier for anyone. Anything that has aircraft attack is going to be really, really good to start. The only reason I don't use the Golden America is because you can't disassemble it, and for smaller players, you want to keep your power as low as humanly possible because it the events on the weekend match make you based on your overall power. So if you're lower, you're going to fight weaker people and overall be stronger. Okay, so that R77 IIS missile would go on the first slot. For your engine, it's another one. You're going to want to get a Ford engine, the Ford nuclear reactor engine. This is going to be the last piece that you probably pick up. You'll probably have all of the other ones before that. You may get lucky. There's a couple other things that I'll give you for options, but you're going to want to eventually get the Ford nuclear reactor engine, and that's going to go here. I'll show you how to get that as well. On this slot, you are going to want, for free players, you are going to want to use your Jack torpedo as high of a level as humanly possible. You're going to want to use, like I said, that APS radar, you're going to want to use for pirates. When you're fighting actual people in events on the weekend, you're going to want to use the Jack radar if you are using an aircraft attack setup. The reason being is attack speed is crucial. Most of those fights are decided by who attacks first, and that's pretty much the long and short of it. The last thing you're going to want is a fire rain phalanx. It is the cheapest phalanx that you can get that gives you really respectable overall defense. I don't recommend using any of the airplane phalanxes, even though a lot of people will use them. I don't recommend it. It's kind of just a drain of resources that you could be putting into your R77 and your JPG radar, because you're going to be using these two. See, mine is all the way up here. You're going to be using these two for no matter what. Okay, so this is standard setup right here. R77, Ford engine, Jack radar, Jack radar, Jack torpedo, fire rain phalanx, and JPG. You want to get all of these as high as humanly possible. Okay, and that goes for both color and for their level. Okay, so this is the 3, and eventually you can get it up to Roman numeral 4+2. At orange, it does a hell of a lot of damage. Yeah, like it's really, really effective. And if you look at anything, so like especially with the skill, you're looking at, what is that? Just quick math. You're looking at 99% overall attack and another 66 aircraft attack specifically on top of that on a carrier that already has 50% aircraft attack. This goes for Midnight Pumpkin, for Golden America, for Starry River. Those are the 3 aircraft that I really recommend for people that are trying to not spend a ton of money. And then the other option is the Soryu. So that one, I love the Soryu. It's probably my favorite carrier in the game, even more so than any of the 6 stars. It's not as good as them, but it's just a cool carrier, and I like the guy's picture. That one is really useful later on because it can make really good use of a lot of the higher level equipment, like a super anti-aircraft missile and stuff. But Midnight Pumpkin and Starry River are probably going to be your most effective bets for not spending a lot of money or spending no money. And other than that, once you can, your 2 6-star options that come up for auction in gold, or for gold a lot, that you can get for free, like I said, the Helios and the JFK. They have really, really, really good bonuses that you can use with this standard setup, and they make really good use of it. The Helios is probably going to be, in my opinion, is the more effective one. It might feel weaker for a while, but you end up scaling up past a lot of people later on in the game, because the one thing that the Helios has going for it is that it has really, really high accuracy. So there's equipment loadouts that focus on really high accuracy, really high damage, really good tankiness, and then dodge. Helios will at least give you a fair fight against anyone. I personally use dodge the most because it requires someone to answer you, like it requires someone to build specifically to counter you. And none of the other setups really do that, but this standard setup will make you and your alliance, hopefully, well, this is why I'm making this for gun anyway, but this will make um, your alliance stronger than pretty much anyone else, just from a depth perspective. You're going to have players that know what they're doing. You're going to have players who have no idea what they're doing. You want to make sure that you're getting your players the most consistent damage output as possible and making everyone a pain for the other teams to cut through. So you gotta take that into account. So eventually you want to go here to get the Ford engine. There's a couple things. If you're gonna go for carriers, you get some of these tickets by just doing daily quests, these basic carrier supply tickets, and you'll get a few of them. You get a couple free draws every day, and you sometimes get lucky and you get a whole ass carrier. Sometimes, very rarely you get the whole thing, but if you pull a magic shark, okay, it drops another engine, and the fire rain phalanx, by the way, but it drops another engine that gives you overall attack. That is a really, really good benefit to have before you get your Ford engine. If it drops other stuff is usable, but I'd seriously avoid Skyfire until they buff it again. It used to be really, really good, especially if you got it to red +2. It gave you like 84 overall attack, but like you saw the orange R77, which you can totally get for free. It's hard to get it to orange for free, but red is super, super easy. A lot of people on my team already have the red one. The orange you kind of have to spend money for, but the orange one has way more overall attack than this base. And even the red one's probably more effective. Until they give this missile like a +3 and a +4 variant, it's gonna kind of be useless. So the equipment you get from these carriers, when you break this, you're hoping for the engine as a placeholder before you get your Ford. But if you get the Skyfire or the Phantom Search Radar, just like the equipment before, if I go to disassemble stuff, yeah, so if I go to disassemble things, like these give you these shards. If I go to disassemble, say I'm not going to do it, but disassemble a Lincoln Phalanx, okay, it gives me 400 carrier material shards. These shards are correspondent to these chests. Okay, so the equipment shard exchange, these 3 chests. The first one is how you're going to get your fire rain phalanx to +2, but I'd highly recommend just getting a fire rain phalanx and getting a Ford engine, which is in the second one. Notice you need 320 shards to pick that up. It takes a while, but those free carriers that you get from that carrier display, you want to break them because most of them are pretty much useless. Like I said, if you have a Soryu, Midnight Pumpkin, Starry River, Midnight Pumpkin, Starry River, or Golden America, you're gonna want to just break everything you get from that side, and you're just gonna want to save up all of the shards that those equipment that you get the break from that to eventually get the Ford engine. There are runoffs down the road, but that'll be in later videos. I just wanted to go over how to get all the pieces for that basic setup. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment below. Hopefully this is up today, but if this audio sucks, you won't hear it, and I'll just listen to myself talk. And then I'll have to re-record it and get a new mic. But anyway, that is it for that. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. All of these are what you want to go for, and I recommend the Midnight Pumpkin because it looks cool. Who doesn't like that nose? Looks really cool. Anyway, all right. Thanks, guys. Peace.